Okay, welcome everybody. So today we're going to review on Unit 5. So this is the unit on factoring. So we've got a lot of different ways to factor. I'm going to show you multiple ways on how to do that. There will be 13 free response questions and only 12 multiple choice questions. So a total of 25 questions. Here we go. Okay, so first thing you want to do is make sure that you look for a GCF. If you can take out a GCF or a GCD, then that's the first thing that you do. So we're going to look at 24 and 32. The biggest number I can take out of those and divide out would be an 8. Now I'm looking at S. I don't see any variable S in both terms, but I do see a T that I can take out, so I'm going to take out a T as well. So I'm going to say my GCD times 3S minus 4t is my factored expression. Okay, so in this case all I was able to do is take out a GCD. Now number 2, 4 terms. First thing you think when you see 4 terms, if you can, factor it by grouping. You group the first 2, you group the last 2. You take out a GCD. Your goal is to make sure that whatever you divide out leaves you the same expression. Okay, then you group your GCDs and you multiply by the term that was left over. So what I can take out of 12x cubed and 15x squared is going to be 3x squareds, resulting me with 4x plus 5. So that means that when I take out a GCD here, I have to get a 4x plus 5 as well. So let's take out a negative 2. This way I get this to become positive, and that gives me 4x plus 5. Okay, now I'm going to group the GCDs. 3x squared minus 2 times 4x plus 5. What I suggest you all do when you are completing your test, as a check, make sure you can multiply it back together, because that is the way that you will make sure that you have the correct answer. So moving on to number 3. Number 3 is a trinomial. So we've seen this several different ways. We can do it by grouping and split that linear term. We can do it by tic-tac-toe. We can do it by slip and slide. It doesn't matter. Okay, we'll do this one by tic-tac-toe, and let's see what we get. So 2x squared minus 9 minus 3x. Okay, we're going to set up the tic-tac-toe board. Okay, things that will multiply to 2x squared are 2x times x. Negative 9 could be negative 9 and 1. It could be 1. It could be 3 and 3. Okay, so what I'm going to have to figure out is how am I going to get them to add up to negative 3x? Well, I could do a negative 3 and a positive 3. That will give me negative 6x and a positive 3x. Well, that adds up to negative 3x. So my factors are on the diagonals. So this is equal to 2x plus 3 times x minus 3. And that is the factored expression. These two are equivalent. Okay, so number 4, looks like we have a difference of squares here. If I can take out a GCD, do it first. 16 and 36 both have a factor of 4. So if I take out a 4, I'm left with 4 times 9a squared minus 4b squared. Lucky for me, 9 and 4 are still perfect squares, so I can break that down into a difference of squares. In the case that this were a plus, okay, that would not factor anymore. This would be your final step. But because this is a difference of squares, I can factor it more. This would be 3a minus 2b times 3a plus 2b. And this is done. Okay. Number 5. Again, we can do it by tic-tac-toe. Okay, I have a negative here, so I have to have one of these r's negative, the other one's positive. 18, there's lots of things that multiply to 18. 6 and 3, 9 and 2, 18 and 1. Okay, so what's going to add up to a negative 3r? Let's think. I could do, let's see, 6 and 3 would give me a difference. So let's do positive 6 and positive 3, because that would be negative 6r and positive 3r, so that's going to add up to negative 3r. So I get r plus 6. Again, when I break this polynomial down, it factors nicely to r plus 6 times negative r plus 3. Okay, and you can leave it like that. If you really don't like that negative there, you can factor it out, but that would change this sign as well. You can leave it as that, or you can take out a negative. If you take out a negative, the negative would go in front. So you can have this answer here. Or if you take this negative out front, okay, it's going to change both this sign and both this sign. So if I had another answer, I could use it as negative r plus 6 times r minus 3. Both of these are correct answers. Okay, if you leave it as the first way, that's perfectly fine. I will have in my answer key that both of those are correct. Number 6, so we're going to do again tic-tac-toe. So we have 6x squared minus 21 plus 15x. That's a terrible 5. Plus 15x. So I'm going to check 6 and 1, and then 2 and 3. I say it's going to be 2x times 3x. If I make a mistake, I can always back and check. So 21 could be 7 and 3. So let me do positive 7 here and negative 3 here, because that would give me positive 21x and negative 6x. Well, 21 minus 6 is 15. So I've got 3x minus 3 and 2x plus 7. So this would be 3x minus 3 and 2x plus 7. Now sometimes it actually leaves you in a spot where you're able to take out a GCD here. So in this case I can take out a 3. Okay, and I'm left with 3 times x minus 1 times 2x plus 7. So go back and check and make sure you always have a GCD that you can take out. If you can't take it out in the beginning, you can always take it out at the end. In this case, I could have taken out a 3. Okay, 6, 15, and 21, you can take out a 3. And then you can even do slip, slide, and divide. Okay, in this case, for those of you that will forget to do that, here's a nice example where you can do it at the end, and it will be fine. Okay, so number 7 is a sum of cubes. So we take the cube root. Okay, we get x plus 2. And remember, we square the first term, that's x squared. We multiply these two together, you get 2x. Oh. And we take the last term and we square it as well. Okay, so remember SOAP. Okay, same, opposite, always positive. The first sign has to be positive. The next sign is the opposite, and then the last one is always positive. Okay, now here we can take out a 2. So let's take out a 2, and then we'll try and see if we can factor this one. Number 9, I can take out a GCD of 2x. So 2x times x squared minus 4. That's a difference of squares, so I can multiply, and let's see what we get. X minus 2 times x plus 2 here. Okay, number 10. So here we have a difference of cubes. So now we can take the cube root, and that's going to give me 2x minus 1. Square the first term, that's 4x squared. Multiply these two terms together, that's negative 2x. opposite. And then the last one's always positive, so I'm going to square that last term, and that gives me 1. Number 11, take out a 2. Let's see what we get. 2 times x squared minus 8x plus 16. So I can factor this, and I'll get x. What's going to give me 16? I could do 6 and... Nope. I can do 8 and 2. That's not going to give me a difference of anything. How about 4 and 4? I could do x minus 4 times x minus 4, which I can rewrite as 2 times x minus 4 quantities squared. Remember, this is multiplication. Okay, here's an example where I have a sum of squares. So this is what we call prime. Okay, if you can take out a GCD first, then it's not prime. But if you cannot do anything from the very beginning, not even take out a GCD, it's prime. Okay, number 13. Let's see, can I take out a GCD? 23 is prime, 15 is 3 and 5. It looks like I can't take anything out here. So what I'm going to try is slip, slide, divide. So multiply this. Let's see what I got. That's going to be 90, because 6 times 10 is 60, and 6 times 5 is 30, so 60 and 30 makes 90. So x squared minus 23x plus 90. What multiplies to 90, but I'll add up to a negative 23. Okay, so we've got, how about we do 5 and 18? So this will be x minus 18 times x minus 5, because a negative times a negative equals a positive, so that gives me 90. And then they'll add up to a negative 23. So now I divide by what I slipped. If I can't simplify anymore, then I slide it. So 18 divided by 6 actually does divide nicely. This becomes 3. Okay, so I have x minus 3 times 6x minus 5. Number 14, you can take out a 2. So I get 2 times x squared plus 16. Okay, this is an instance where I can take out a GCD. From this point, I can't do anything. Okay, so I don't call this one prime because I was able to take out a GCD. Okay, and number 15. Okay, and we have the last two. Let's see, can I take out anything out here? No, I cannot. Okay, so let's try slip and slide. 4 times 25 is 100. So I have x squared minus 20x plus 100. So let's see how it's going to factor. I want to do x times x will give me x squared. 100 I can do negative 10 and negative 10. Divide them both by 4. Let's see what I do. Okay, divide them both by 2. I get 5 and I get 2. 5 and I get 2. We're going to slide those 2's over. So I get 2x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. Well, hey, this was one of those cases where I have a special trinomial. Okay, first term is squared, so we can square root it. Last term is squared, so I can square root it. Okay, multiply and double, and I get negative 20x. So this is 2x minus 5 quantity squared. Square the first, square the last, multiply them and double. Okay, now in number 16, if they give me one of the factors, that means x plus 2 is going to multiply to some other factors to equal x cubed plus 3x squared minus 10x minus 24. So if they give you a factor, okay, to get the remainder or the quotient will be something I can factor. Okay, so I'm going to divide using long division to to get that trinomial that I can factor into more factors. Okay, so x cubed divided by x is x squared. That gives me x cubed. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. We're going to subtract them, and I get x squared. Drop down the negative 10x and the minus 24. Okay, x squared divided by x is just 1x. And that gives me x squared plus 2x. And I subtract, and I get negative 12x. Bring down the negative 24. Negative 12x divided by x is negative 12. So that gives me negative 12x. And that gives me negative 24. If I subtract those, I get a remainder of 0. So now this is something that I can factor. So I'm not done. Okay, I need to get this factor to get what I need to now break down, this new trinomial. So I'll have 3 factors because this quadratic will break into 2 terms. Plus this extra factor will give me 3 terms. Okay, so x squared plus x minus 12. Well, that's going to factor. Let's see, I've got x plus 2. That's 1 factor. So now this is going to break up into x. Let's see, we could do 4 and 3. We could do plus 4 and x minus 3. And that will give me the negative 12 I need, and that will give me the positive 1 I need. So then these are the other 2 factors. So if I multiply x plus 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 3, if I multiply it all together, what I get is this polynomial right here. Okay, so remember there are 13 free response and there are 12 multiple choice. Good luck and happy studying.